Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of We're Dying Down Here. I am Tyler Arceneaux.
And I am JP Leonard, and this is a podcast about doing stand-up comedy, living in Louisiana. And we have a wonderful 2 guests today.
Yep, we brought in some friends of ours, some traveling companions, Gilbert Lawand
and
Ryan Singer.
Why did we say that in unison?
I don't know. Cue the music, Daddy.
Bam.
On this beautiful Sunday in Club 337.
Yeah, we're in a weird club. By the way, this is recorded live. Well, we're live.
Live for her.
Yeah, for her. Hello, comedy. In the club where we do the shows, and we walked in, and there's like balloons everywhere, and the dance floor is open. There's all kind of tables, and there's that Christmas tree. I don't know if you can. If it sees
I don't know if this
camera.
is going to come up on the camera, but it is the most lopsided Christmas tree of
it looks
all
like
time.
If RuPaul discarded it. It's very pink and shiny.
It's an OSHA hazard, as
it's
a matter
not straight.
Of fact. It's the gayest Christmas tree in this room.
We pointed to the camera, so we're good. We have to do that every episode. That's our thing. So what's been up?
I think we should wait till something funny happens, though.
Oh. I thought that was funny.
Oh, man.
What's been going on, Tyler?
I've done a lot since we last talked. I've traveled. I've been a traveling man.
Hey.
I went spend a weekend in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it was phenomenal. I absolutely love Houston comedy.
Tell us.
I can't say enough good things. Where to start? Well, the beginning's a good place. I had the pleasure of sleeping on the couch of our good buddy Joshua Jordan's.
Piece of crap.
Formerly Lafayette comedian, now resident of Houston, Texas.
But forever in our hearts.
Yeah. He has dual citizenship over there now. So I did a good deal of sleeping on his couch, which is, honestly, I love Josh to death, but this couch is not the best couch for a fella like me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I
he did
honestly,
say that someone was buying it for him, but I
expected this couch to not make it through the weekend after night 1, if I'm being quite honest. So when I wasn't sleeping on it,
but enough about your sets.
Oh,
right,
God,
sorry,
I'm fat. But we did some shows. I got him some guest spots on some shows that I did. We had a great time, man. Our first show Friday night was at the Seeker Group. Best of 10 p.m. spot. And when I tell you this is one of the hottest shows I've ever done, not just in this club, in this city, there was maybe 30, 35 people there, not even a whole lot of people, but the crowd was incredible. They were hot, they were loud, every comedian killed. The host was completely phenomenal. I mean, he got them ramped up. Shout out to Larry Goodwell. 0% chance he watches this, but if he does,
I'm sending it to him.
If he does,
we're friends on Facebook.
Good
now.
job, Larry. Yeah. Larry's great. That show was incredible. We stuck around Friday night. We did the midnight show with our buddy Jamal Rahal.
Yep. Good dude.
Yeah, his co-host Patrick Eady was out of town, but Jamal let us slide on.
The newly shaved Patrick Eady.
Dude, he looks ridiculous, like a baby boy.
Yeah.
Sweet baby boy. The midnight show Friday was wild.
Yeah,
okay?
I heard.
So,
I saw the chats.
Bruh, there was... I don't know what to call someone who works at a Renaissance fair other than carny, so we're going to use the word carny. However, I found out very specifically that corny is a derogatory term for people who work at Renaissance fairs.
I wouldn't say the word derogatory, but okay.
They got real mad. All right, you ever had somebody... All right, so this is what he did. He said, you know the difference between us and a carny? We got our teeth, but... They didn't.
Yeah, they have them on a necklace and then etched into their swords or axes.
They collect each other's teeth. They collect the teeth of their fallen foes.
They trade it like Pokemon.
They were a rowdy bunch, to say the least, during the shows. One of them dressed like a vampire, very specifically. I call him Lestat in my head.
You know how vampires existed during the Renaissance period.
He was very loud.
Jesus Christ.
He was like audibly talking back Like he's that kind of person that was having fun and felt like he was helping the show. You know what I mean? Like he was screaming back during everybody's punchlines. People are trying to build up silence and tension, and like he's talking during that time.
Please tell me he heckled in like old English, like "You suck, you should get off ye stage."
Yeah, I was up there. He was like, "Redbeard of Yonder Cave, you suck."
A lady comic, bring that witch to the ducks. I don't know how you make a. All right, I don't know.
Put her on the stake. Get the tie some rocks to her ankles and throw her off a bridge.
Yeah.
That's what they do to women
and then
comics.
give her the light.
If she's funny, she must be a witch.
What if they give you the light and they just light you on fire?
It's a torch.
Give the lady comic, the lady jester the light.
Why is your Renaissance voice kind of Jamaican?
They're all from the beach.
We need to burn these witches.
Blood clot.
We can't. Right. We're gonna get canceled.
Oh boy.
So we talked to these guys outside, and as bad as they were during the show, they were somehow even worse after.
Well, after all the Yale ale was flowing.
The vampire guy came up to me and he was like, I just want to tell you how awesome you were. Sorry, I was getting a little loud. I said, dude, you ruined my buddy's set here. And I put my arm on Josh, and the guy walked up and just like gave Josh an unsolicited, unwelcomed hug to like try to say I'm sorry. And Josh was like, actually, this is the worst thing that's happened to me tonight.
Also, your beaver pelt is rubbing against me and making me itch. What were they wearing, by the way?
Dude, they were all dressed like they were trying to sell potions. like they look like Andre 3000 plays the flute for them.
These exotic essential oils of coconut.
One of them, and all right, so one of them walked up to me afterward, and me and Josh were standing right next to each other. She walks up to me and she goes, "You're so awesome. You're so great." She looks at Josh. She's like, "You're good too." And she looks at me and goes, "Have you ever considered, like, what could really help you make it is if you were more like Jelly Roll?" Now, look.
Please tell me she had a tattoo gun in her purse.
She had a tattoo.
I'm sorry, not her purse, her satchel.
It was just in her bosom with an extension cord. Where can I plug this in? So I was trying not to be rude and dismissive. I'm a nice, friendly guy. You talk to me after a show. But I was like, I hear you, and I don't want to seem dismissive of any advice you're trying to give me, ma'am, m'lady. But
yes. This whole story you have to.
But what do you mean by I should be more like Jelly Roll? Like, do you want me to rap? Like, I don't understand. And she was like, you know Jelly Roll, right? And I was like, I'm familiar. And she was like, do that more. I have no idea what this bitch was talking about.
You can't get any fatter. I mean, also, do they have jelly in the Renaissance period? Preservative roll? I don't. All right.
They definitely didn't have YouTube.
Oh, Jesus.
What this bitch was talking about.
Oh.
So that was Friday. Friday was very eventful. We met he is one of my favorite people in the Houston comedy scene. Did not see this kid do comedy, but he made me laugh harder than any comic that weekend. His name was Trey Campbell, and he is the most autistic person I've ever met, and he is hilarious. So funny, this kid. He was wild. He introduced me to somebody that walked in the green room, and he was like, I don't know if you've ever met Bao, but the one funny thing about Bao's character arc is that Bao would be a great comedian if he would just ever show up on time.
Relate to a lot of people like that.
Bao is so funny, but he's always late. Yeah, so this guy was great. Let's see, Saturday we bounced back and forth between the Riot Seeker group.
Yep, shout out to the Riot
and
the Seeker group.
I had a great show at the Riot. It was a little touch and go at the beginning of the show for some of the other comics. The rooms felt kind of flat, but I just got in there, I brought some energy, and I kind of livened the place up. And
that's such a good room. If you've never been to the Riot in Houston, at Rudyard's is a bar. It's like 2-story, like back in the day, like, you know, Chappelle would stop in, do open mic for like 2.5, 3 hours or whatever. and then it kind of like went through this this change period, kind of like coming out of COVID. Brian Gendron and them, and it's really, once they redid that room and flipped the stage, it's a beautiful room for comedy.
It's definitely my favorite. One of my favorite rooms in the South, just at all. I mean, the people are right there up on you. The stage is perfect. It's a beautiful room.
Yeah, killer food too.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Had a great set. Did the midnight show at Secret Group again on Sunday. Just kind of chilled. Me and Josh watched a bunch of comedy, caught up. Ended up going to do a Sunday evening show back at the Secret Group called Eighth Wonder. And there were, that this show was in jeopardy because when we got there, the host was like, do y'all want to come bark with us?
Oh.
And so I went sit in the green room because I didn't drive 5 hours to bark for a comedy show. Sorry. But no, it ended up being a fun show. Drove home. It was a late night, long weekend for me. Had a pretty good week though. We're going to talk about the Wednesday night show later, but I will kind of touch on something that just happened on Friday. I got brought out to Lake Charles to host our good friends over at Lake Charles Comedy. Some of their more seasoned comedians wanted to get a good tape together.
Nice.
So they got somebody together to film at Library Riot. Only problem is our buddy Jacob forgot to run ads. And honestly, he's a pretty good turnout for no ads.
Hey.
I want to say there was like 20-ish people. Maybe not all of them paid, but audience was strong.
Look, sometimes you run ads and it doesn't work. Trust me.
Yeah. So
Trust
like
me.
you never know.
You hear me? Facebook,
You never know.
Instagram.
But the show was pretty strong. I think for all things considered, right? I got up there. I did a hosting gig. It was fun, man. It was my first time hosting over there.
Nice.
I let him know, hey, anytime you want to take the night off and give me some shine, I'll gladly come host for you, dude. So we had some fun. So, yeah, shout out to Jacob Guidry and all the fam over in Lake Charles. But
nice.
What about you, man? What you been up to since we last talked?
Oh, man. So it's been, let's see, last time we talked was after the New York trip. Kind of rode that high for a while because that was really good. So let's see. 2 weeks ago, while you were in Houston, I was doing a private event in Youngsville.
Yeah, rich people?
No, just normal folks. It's called the Cajun Mansion,
Okay.
Louisiana Cajun Mansion. It's like someone's house. They turn it into an event center. Youngsville, you just, you go back there, you turn right. And then look for a dead squirrel, then turn right again. And it was like...
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, right by the squirrel. It's all... Yeah. So, beautiful place. So, they've only done one... Like, they do a dinner comedy show. They've only done one before, and they had a magician the first time. So, they wanted, like, true stand-up. So, I was like, all right. So, it was me. It was Terrence Delane from Baton Rouge, Maggie Shipley from here, and Josh Watts. Huge piece of crap, by the way.
Just...
Oh, sorry. I hope he watches this, by the way.
He doesn't.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Someone tag Josh Watts. So we get there, and they got the setup. So we're going to try to do it outside, but, of course, Louisiana, rain and weather and everything.
Oh, gross.
So we had it inside in the setup, and then there's like it was like a big living room, and then they have like a sunroom. They have like a glass partition, but it like opens up like double doors. But the people in the back, when the lady was making announcements about dinner and everything, they couldn't hear her. But, like, I know how to talk on a microphone. We get on the microphone. And I was cranking it up, whatever. So then people started panicking. So they're eating dinner and everything.
They're panicking.
Well, the people in the back panicking. They won't be able to hear
the
show. So I was like, it's going to be fine. So anyways, they moved some people. So we started a little bit late, everything was fine. And then we started, but there was a table to the right. And it was like maybe like 6-7 people. But it was 3 dudes. And the dudes. Like they wore their best fishing shirt, the one with the flap
in the back.
Flap on the back.
Magellans.
Yeah. And their whitest New Balance,
their whitest skin.
And that too. And they came there. They were already hammered. They were, there was so much Michelob.
There were some
Ultra
balls.
Pool. Yeah, there was some balls and some teas.
Some T-balls.
And like when the lady was like doing the thing about something, they're like right in front of her, and you could not hear her because they were so loud. So
Disrespectful.
Anyway, yeah. So finally we started. All right. So everyone's, and I'm trying to get a pulse of the crowd. Everyone's good. And they just would not stop. And I'm like, y'all, guys, and I had to and I'm not I am not a confrontational person. I want to I'm gonna tell you to be quiet in the best way I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make you laugh, but also I'll drive my point.
Yeah, and they just would not stop. So anyway, so I did, follow on the store, do the host set. Man, I had like some crazy pops, and it like some older people in there, so it was really good. And messing around with tables or whatever, and they were giving me crap. The comics were, because we were in the green room, aka the front living room, and and when the lady was introducing me, she took like my bio, whatever, and she's like, so and so is open for some Nate Bargatze, and this lady like screamed like, wow, in the back. And I was like,
I saw him on SNL.
So when I got out, I was like, who screamed for Nate? I was like, he's not here, right? And she's like, oh, and I'm like, what? Like. But the lady also introduced me. He's a regular at the New York Comedy Club.
What?
And then Terrence and Maggie and Josh looked at me like, oh, a regular? I'm like, look, you can read the paper when she comes in here. So I made him read the paper. I'm like, I did not write that down. So anyway, so I do my host set, and man, I'm just sweating. So Terrence is next. So he goes out there. Everything's fine. Terrence holds the microphone away, but the sound was great. During my set, the bartender, who's the furthest away behind the glass on the left, was like, laughing at bits,
Yeah, I mean, and
he didn't laugh like
and
that.
And if there's any audio problems, Terrence would be the one where you'd be able to tell.
Where I'd have to turn it out. Yeah, everything was fine. So I'm talking to people, and I'm like, look, we want to try to get done for 8:30. So then I realized, like, okay, he was supposed to do 15. Maggie was supposed to do 15. So I was like, all right, Maggie, you're doing 10. And then, like, Josh, I told him like 20,
you're like
25,
a real producer over here, cutting people's time last minute, bruh.
But I can't tell Terrence because
you're growing, JP.
Shut up. I can't tell Terrence because he's on stage. I mean, on the tiles, and so I just gave him a light. He wanted a light like certain minutes, so I just gave him the light, and then he kind of understood or whatever. Then Maggie goes up there, and Maggie had her first half was hard, and then she started like doing like the different, like quicker, and that started killing. But one of the drunk dudes fell out of his chair. You heard this big old chonk, and then I had to go get the people, but like, hey, and they're like all freaking out, and I'm like, I'm not gonna kick out this guy, this whatever.
Wow.
Anyway, so finish off, bring up Josh. And Josh is commanding because he looks like he can murder your family.
Yeah, don't heckle this guy. He will beat you. He'll fight you.
Yeah, but he's loud. He pulls the mic away. He's still loud. So anyway, so he's doing his bit about Baton Rouge's Got Talent, and he's doing this certain thing where
I know this bit.
But before, like, the guys introduce him, and he says, and so right when he says, ladies and gentlemen, so by the way, huge thunderstorm rolls in.
Right.
All right. So we're still getting some lightning and thunder. As soon as he says, ladies and gentlemen, the power goes off. The place is pitch black, not a light, because we're out there in the country, bro. Like, we ain't got the moon. There's no street lights, And then it comes back on after 3 seconds. Everyone cheers. We wait. The PA kicks back on. He just rolls through. And so by that time, he's finishing up, and it is pouring out there. So I'm just trying to, we just kind of hide, wait, just trying to let everyone leave. It's hard for them to leave. It's flooded. People parked in the grass. The streets start closing. So finally I got out of there. I picked up all my equipment with one hand. I just went right to my truck, boom, boom, boom. Drove back. It took forever because the streets were flooded. So like Verrett School, you only got the center of, it was whatever. But it was fun, and the people there liked it, and so they want us to come back. So that was fun. That was a good gig. I'm on the point where I'm almost done doing private gigs.
Bruh, that sounded tough. You sound more like. If I would have stopped you at the end of the story and then been like, I wonder if he's going to do it again, I would have said no. So for you to wrap it up by saying it was fun, we're going to do it again, that surprises me.
There's a two-parter, and it's going to come my other story. But that place is great. Like, okay. I like that. But it's just, too many private gigs. So the next night, I had a old spot at in New Orleans at the Dragon's Den, old Vincent Zambon's show.
That's a great spot.
I took our buddy Brock White Lyons with us to see the world.
The whitest of lions.
And man, so that show was packed. This is probably one of the most packed I've ever seen that show. Extra chairs.
Oh, hell
everything.
Yeah, dude.
But that crowd was I've never seen Vincent Zambon work so hard doing a hosting set.
Dang.
And it was tough. And
what about the other comics?
So you had the next two comics went up, and it was pulling teeth. And I'm like just trying to figure out like what is going on. So I went up there and I was like, you know what? Let me see. So I kind of flipped the order of something, and I did my my Bigfoot Fubu with the whole mushrooms thing on there up first, and that got a huge pop. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I referenced and I said something like, you know, you can tell you guys are all on mushrooms. And that got a pop. And then Brock's standing in the back, and he hears the girl, and I even pointed at one, and I can't see anyone. Those lights are so bright. I'm like, especially that guy. I just pointed. Apparently, I picked the one guy of the audience who was really on mushrooms, and his girlfriend's like, how does he know?
He's a magician comedian.
I had a great set.
He's a mentalist.
And then Geneva and Isaac were after me, and they had to work.
They rode. Oh, really?
They had
so they
to
couldn't
work.
ride your wave. Dang,
it was
man.
a weird night.
That is weird. Why does that?
I think I got lucky. Whatever.
What is that?
But at the end, people, you know, we got a bunch of tips and everything, and compliments, and there was a lot of people who lived there. I think they just had people out of town. They were partying. So that was that show. Whew, that was it was fun. But we drove back that night. All was good. And then, which we'll talk about the show later. We had the show here Wednesday with the Goofball Run tour, and then I had a show this past Friday, another private event
in Houma.
In Houma, Louisiana. Isaac Cozell hired me for a private party show at Bayou Terrebonne Distillery. Is one of the best places in Houma. Beautiful place.
Now
awesome
was
liquor.
Shane Torres originally supposed to be on this show with you?
That's the following
I got
week.
you.
Yeah.
I got you.
No, this one was just a book show. So he had, last year Isaac did it. He had 2 comics. I think he had Brandon and Will Merrill do it, and everything was good. And it's a company who makes countertops. And it was just me and Isaac, and I was just like, whoa. And there was no light on the stage. We tried moving the lights, but we couldn't get them moved. So you're just in darkness, and you got the TV above the stage, and it's just playing like a fireplace. And then it's just like everyone's like, the closest person's like 20 feet from us, and then Isaac brings me up, and it's just like, yeah, I worked hard.
Bruh,
it was a lot
that
of
sounds
work.
awful.
And it was awkward. Now, I got laughs here, but like, when I did one bit and I was just watching the lady's face, and I was just like, I hate myself. I hate comedy in general. Isaac went up. He had to work, and I took a picture from the back of the club, and it looked like he was.
It was empty.
Yeah, because there was maybe.
So they didn't put chairs up in the front like they normally do?
No, they had elevated like pub style height chairs and tables.
But they didn't push them up.
No, because I know.
Like you can't. Look,
I know.
When you produce comedy, some things work and some things don't. Mm-hmm. One thing that does not work is when the audience is so far away from the goddamn stage that the comedian feels like they're in another zip code.
Or if the comedian's dark.
Do better.
Not lit up, you know?
Do better, venues.
Yeah. But I get it. You know, it's a private event. But, you know, they had fun. At the end, they came talk to us. And I even made a stupid joke because they make countertops. And I was like, I told Isaac, I was like, I'm going to say, I hope you guys don't take comedy for granted. I didn't because I respect myself. And Isaac's opening joke, he stole that, and it went great. Everyone laughed.
That is also a joke by local Lafayette legend. So I wouldn't be proud of any of it. Both of you thought of a joke that was already written by an open micer in Lafayette. So good job, you two. Early hack watch for you listeners.
Hey, Jason, this is me on stage talking to you in the camera. Please edit that part out. Thank you. Anyway,
this better stay in.
I'm going to beep the name.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
I'm going to put up I'm going to put that Renaissance lady in front of you. Anyway, but I had a nice little old fashioned, and then after I got off stage, here's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life. I go back after my thing, you know, whatever, and I go up to the bar, and I was like, whew, you know, because the girl bartender, she's been to all the shows.
They're there all the time.
All the shows.
Yeah.
Well, they had a new young guy he was working, and I was like, I need a shot of whatever you give me, just in that. And he goes, "Oh, you're a new comic?" And I was like. Anyway,
God, I feel hurt on your behalf.
I was like, I wish I would quit, you know. Anyway, but I was like, no, man. I was like, you know, I was gonna give him the speech on, but I was like, whatever, just give me my drink.
What you got to say, dude?
And then, and then I just chilled, watched Isaac, and then it's finished. And then we just talked. Everyone wanted to talk to us, and it was great. And we just chatted and everything. I bought a gift for me and my wife that I can't spoil it, but from over there, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And then like I drove home, and I had like it was like a 2-hour drive to get home, and I put on the Urban Cowboy soundtrack mix and just sang my little heart away. But yeah, that was it. Sad. And then I made it back, and then I've done nothing this weekend, so it's been great.
Just chilled, slept, eat some carbs.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good time to transition into our interview.
Yeah.
And this week we have from Atlanta, Georgia, Gilbert Lawand and the great Ryan Singer.
Oh, yeah. If I get canceled, that means I made it, so I'm fine with it. I'm not relevant enough to be canceled, which is in my bio.
All right.
Don't you
Is
complain.
it the last line or the first line?
Yeah, don't you keep your complaints to yourself, because he's not even relevant enough to cancel.
Yeah,
so.
you can't cancel what has not been unstarted.
What has been programmed.
Yeah. Dude, there's a bunch of people coming at you online. I'm like, for real? I don't even know the context.
All right, we rolling?
Yeah,
I guess we
man,
should.
absolutely.
I'm try to use all that.
We're here with Ryan Singer and Gilbert Lawand.
Lawand.
Is it Lawand? I think it's Lawand. I don't even know anymore. It's Lawand.
What do you hear the most?
I hear Lawand the most. which I say, if you're going to say that, just go ahead and go Gilbert Lawand. Make it all French.
Gilbert Lawand. But watch this. Watch what Siri calls him.
Oh, boy. What does Siri call me?
Actually, we might have to edit this out.
Are you serious?
Hey, Siri. Call Gilbert Lawand. It didn't say.
Yeah, because Siri knows I'm here. Siri's scared of me.
Hey, Siri. Call Gilbert Lawand.
Calling Gilbert Lawand, work.
I guess we just answered that.
You know when
it's
you drive your car through someone's lawn, you call it a lawn job?
Oh, it's a
Your
Gilbert lawn
I
job.
thought a lawn job
Are
was.
you going to say Gilbert lawn jockey? This guy's racist.
Thought a lawn job was
Nice.
when a single housewife jacks you off in her lawn.
Oh, was that a real thing that you've heard?
I bet you if you Google that, it is a real thing somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow, that actually sounds delightful. No.
Delightful.
My top searches on X videos.
What a creepy word to use. That sounds delightful.
That sounds delightful to have a hand job in a lawn by a single mom. That almost kind of rhymed.
It does. It's almost on
Have a
Brazzers.
hand job in a lawn by a single mom. Nom, nom, nom. Well, okay. This
Coming to
edit this
Brazzers.
out.
Guys,
Please
thank y'all for
edit this
turning
out.
into Suburban Dictionary.
Suburban Dictionary. That's funny.
Did you know what cul-de-sac means?
It's French for big sack.
Oh.
Cold sack. I'm French.
Oh, is it really? What if I
What I
just
call
start
my
believing
nuts when I'm
everything?
in a
Oh,
pool.
really?
Oh, yeah. Ryan's so
They
gullible.
haven't even done the intro yet.
That was it. We did.
Yeah,
Clubs and colleges all
All right,
over.
one more time. We have Ryan Singer and Gilbert Lawand.
Hell yeah.
That's
Nailed
me.
it. Yeah,
Nailed
it's
it.
Yeah, nailed it.
So,
man.
people get so weird about it, and they end up forgetting my first name. This happens so many times. I'm like, don't worry about it. And they're like, Gary. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just comedian Gilbert.
Comedian Gilbert.
Yeah.
CG.
Gilbert.
Yeah, CGI.
Gilbert
CGI.
Gilbert the comedian.
Yeah, Gilbert the comedian. Well, there was 2 Gilberts, and then one passed away.
Who was that?
Gilbert Godfrey.
Never heard of
her.
See, we all forgot about him quickly.
We're killing
The crowd goes
Every
wild.
Episode we have to point to.
Yeah.
Guys, keep it down in the
This
back.
guy knows what I'm talking about.
What do you do?
He's furniture.
Oh, you don't want to answer us?
How long you been in a chair? I do like to. I will do that if I'm on a first date. Just to show a woman that I've got a sense of humor. We'll be
You have to show her
walking
that.
by something. I'll be like, oh, look at this tree. And then she'll be like, oh, and I'll be like, how long you been a tree? And I'll yell at the tree.
And then by then you're like,
she's like, can we get married?
Can we go home now?
Yeah.
You gotta get in your pants.
He's like, I'm celibate. So Ryan, let's start with Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan Singer. This is I think we figured out, your 4th time here in Lafayette. Let me start by saying your first time you came through, we already had a show. I think this was Sidebar, Poets, whatever it was called. Howard Hall was headlining, so I kind of like co-booked y'all. It was like it was a book show, and then we ran an open mic after, and you got drunk, and you were like, with the look of a child on
Did the
Christmas,
open mic.
said,
Yeah.
"Can I host this open mic?" And I was like, "Absolutely!" And you had the best time.
I remember this.
Pronouncing Cajun names is hilarious.
And then I brought you
don't
to
know
your hotel. He stayed by the old Shoney's on the Evangeline Three-Way, and I was like, I'm not going under 5 miles per hour. You just got to tuck and roll. And then I dropped you off.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a great night.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I remember that. Yeah. I do remember I got a little fired up, and
drunk.
and
Not
I
too
just
drunk to host, though.
not too drunk to never. I think that's one of the rules in comedy. You're never too drunk to host.
I think
Well,
that's
maybe
a rule.
we-
I think the rule is broken a lot.
Matter of fact, I feel like being drunk makes you more likely to want to host.
Well,
Yeah,
100%.
And more likely to not care how it's going.
I've never just woken up in the middle of the night and been like, God, if I could just host.
Oh, you
know?
don't? Well, you'll get there, dude. You'll get there.
Stick in this comedy game. And
No, but it was a really fun. It is a fun way to, see a scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
And I think when you start, especially when you start doing the road, I don't know how long I'd been full time on the road at that point, but probably not. I wasn't like I was a grizzly veteran at that
it was
point.
probably like 14 or 15, maybe.
Yeah, so I was probably on the road. I was on the road for a handful of years, but mostly middling. Maybe headlining some other shows here and there. But it was a great way to, kind of get a real like a bird's eye view of local comedy scenes, which are they're the fabric of our community and our world, and it's fun to see the different.
That's a beautiful way to say
Yeah.
it.
It's fun to see the different patches on the
really
quilt,
is.
on the comedy quilt, and each city is a different patch.
I had that I went to New York last year, and I was like, I'm not doing any open mics, but I'm gonna watch. And you pay $5 to do open mics, and I was like, all right, if you're paying $5 in New York, you must be good. Boy,
No,
was I
no.
wrong.
Oh, this is a funny thought process.
Any cuckoo can have $5, and I was like, oh, there's the racist lady, there's the racist dude, there's
Yeah.
the crazy lady, there's the crazy dude. It was like, oh, okay.
What if you're like, well, I got $10. If y'all don't laugh now, I'm gonna kill someone. It's fun when the open mics is the night before the weekend starts. You know, like you know what I mean, like the Wednesday
Like a
night.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to what was Wilmington was like that.
The Comedy Key West is like that down in Key West, Florida. I was just there this summer. There is Key West is wild.
What's
right?
that club?
I've never
Is
been.
it Tom's?
Tom Dustin,
Tom
yeah.
Dustin.
Dustin's club.
And
yeah.
he's part owner of it. And it is people. I don't know how people can live down there. I don't know how they survive, and I don't think the life expectancy is actually all that long for people who live down there. In all honesty, but
That seems so
there's-
chill.
If they'd had that when Hemingway was down there, he would have
It's
been.
just
great.
it's just drunk.
Just Jimmy Buffett,
I
Jimmy
got
Buffett,
the first day I was there. I was like, oh my
Worst.
God, this is paradise. I could live here forever. And then by day 3, I was like, I got to get out of here or I'm gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Was
Like,
the crowds drunk too, or just like everybody around? Like
it's just the lifestyle.
But were they unruly?
Everything is built around. Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
The open mic was wild, but that's because there was some, there's some characters at every open mic.
Yeah.
And Key West has their own version of,
I'm
of
sure. It's
wild.
It's the end of
and-
the world, right?
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just like, wait, is
Sun-damaged
it,
brains.
yeah, it is. But it was a fun night. It was a beautiful, because you get to see.
Did you crutch?
You get that peer in, and then after 20 plus years, you're just like, okay, I don't need to do it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe I, but
I don't even go to my own open mic all
right,
the time.
it's just like, ooh. But it is nice to be reminded. It's nice to go there and then, jump up to 5 minutes, and because the audiences don't care.
Yeah.
At that point, unless you're super famous,
Yeah.
the audiences just think you're another maniac.
Like, I've been on Merit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who?
Like, didn't you have IFC in 2018 or whatever year?
I remember you from that joke about Gargamel.
Oh, yeah, Ezreal.
the Gargamel joke. Like, oh yeah, that joke. I used to do that joke during check drop
Oh, that's a good one.
because I was like, this is a fun because it can just be quiet while people figure out.
Yeah. You don't.
A lot of words in that joke. A lot of words.
Yeah, and I miss doing that joke.
The joke was that was the first time I saw someone do a joke, and it was very abstract. I guess my only exposure to like big comedy at that point was what I'd seen on Comedy Central. So just to see something so like absurd and just
Same.
like it's like it was pouring out of your brain while you were telling it, and I was just like jaw dropped. Like,
Oh, wow, that's
First time I
I'll
saw
never
it the
forget
same
that.
way. The Tyra Banks joke. First time I ever saw you, it's like this insane joke that it's an act out of two people. It was at Landmark Diner years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I was like watching this guy. I'm like, this is crazy.
It was part of the fest.
Yeah,
It was Laughing Skull
Laughing
Fest,
Skull.
wasn't it?
And the people that didn't advance came over.
Oh yeah,
there,
came over.
And
to
there was
set.
so many great.
Because I remember I drove over with Ben Roy.
Yeah, there's so many great comics on that show, and you were doing like, what's his name, Dan, the character,
Philip, Dan, and Dewey.
Yeah, it's a crazy joke. It's back and forth. And I'm going, this comedy is different.
Yeah,
it can be anything.
What is this comedy?
Yeah,
Am I the only comedian who's gotten more normal?
yeah. Actually,
I'm so mainstream now.
you are. You have gotten normal. I mean, I wouldn't say boring. Why'd you say that?
Oh, geez. Well, what'd you say?
Gilbert, you're in Atlanta now?
Yeah,
You've been there?
I've kind of run that town for a while.
Yeah. Oh boy.
No, I mean, I from there basically. I lived in New York for 3 years. And like, what is it, 2014? I don't like doing years anymore. I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. Oh, it wasn't.
Gilbert talks about himself in eras now.
Yeah. So I've been doing, if you want to know how long I've been doing comedy, probably 3 years. So I'm where I should be.
7 eras. 3 years. 7 eras.
7 eras. 7 eons.
I remember the great podcast era.
I remember when the open microphones were so scarce.
Open microphones.
It was all peaches, and I was like, let's get a microphone up here and tell stories.
I'm changing all my literature now to open microphone.
The host would give you drink chips.
And we didn't have lights. Sometimes we couldn't make a fire, and he would just keep going.
We call it drink coupons, but
Yeah, drink. We called them rations.
So Ryan, so you came back with Dave Stone and
Andy Sanford.
Andy Sanford.
Three-headed
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 monster
moron.
Moron tour.
The three-headed
Recent
moron
ride, sort
tour.
of.
Yeah, that was at JP's.
Yeah.
And then we had you at the beer garden a couple years ago. Probably
From a
pre-COVID.
hookah lounge to
Yeah.
a beer garden.
Yeah.
Every
Pre-COVID.
year, up and up. Huh?
Yeah.
We have self-deprecating names, don't we? Three-headed moron,
Moron,
goofballs.
yeah.
Why can't we just be like
Goofball.
good
Yeah.
comics,
Yeah.
like normal people?
The
Snappy
middles
slaps.
tour.
Yeah, the up and comers.
I mean, I think the Goofballs is a nice juxtaposition to like the way, I don't know, maybe some audiences anticipate shows might go nowadays.
It's a little offensive.
Yeah, it feels like we're in the edgy era, and I've never been really
Right.
edgy
My uncle was a
in that
goofball.
way. But I mean, when I first started out, though, I was pretty pretentious about what my art was.
Yeah. A lot of
and-
N-words.
Lots.
Not.
Maybe I misunderstand
Yeah.
what pretentious
Namaste.
means.
No.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
I got a
racist.
Lafayette, Louisiana education. So.
Yeah, I talked about
He's so
I
pretentious.
talked about the city Nova's Goat a lot.
All the
Nova
KKK
Scotia. I was
meetings.
I said any,
Norwalls. Remember you Norwalls?
I remember
bit?
Norwalls
And how they drink
and
milkshakes?
Newfoundland,
Newfoundland.
Norway. I said it all. And
We call it Old Amsterdam.
we called Old Amsterdam. I apologize.
Are we playing an improv game? I like it. I love improv.
This is the show, guys.
Is it?
Yeah. This is-
Remember, I don't know why I have this memory because you're saying you've calmed down. There was a time when we were both at our peak of being crazy, and I think that was the time when. Remember, I got high and I was opening for you.
Oh, in Wilmington.
Yeah, so there was 2 shows, and I never.
He
I
was
don't-
so, and he,
I- but
when he says I got high,
No,
and I was
I'm
opening
about
for
to
you-
admit it. Like,
okay, what he means is the
this-
highest I've ever seen a person be.
Yeah, but so second show about to start, 5 minutes. There's like 4 people there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go smoke weed for this one. And I go out and smoke weed, and as I'm coming back, one of the other local comics like, you didn't smoke weed with him, did you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, and I walk in, it's packed. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh fuck, right? But I'm really high, and I'm doing my set, and sometimes when I'm high, I have a better pacing because I go too fast, and my pacing was apparently slow, so slow. And at the end, I was getting some laughs, and at the end, I'm like, I wonder if they noticed that. And Ryan goes up and goes, hey, give it up for my feature Gilbert. How fucking high was he? Like, and I'm like, oh, so embarrassed because I thought I pulled it off. I'm like, I'm pretty funny.
thought
right?
whenever
I mean,
they-
the crowd popped because they're just like, one of
yeah.
those pop the acknowledgement pop.
But it would have been funny if I would have said I'm high, but they're just like, this guy is pretending he's not high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, what do y'all want to talk about?
I thought whenever you said that the guy was like, don't smoke weed with him, and then you were like, people showed up. I was like, what kind of weed is this?
Yeah.
That it summons a crowd,
it's-
and can we get
It's
some?
a bringer weed. It's like, go smoke weed, dude. We need more people here. Hey, go do coke. It's like poor excuse for drugs. Hey, go do coke, man, so we can get some people here. You have a problem. Yeah, the problem is I don't have any coke or people or money. If you snort it, they will come. Right? Is that a movie?
Yeah. So transition. Gilbert, this is your second time here.
Yes, it is. It wasn't that long ago.
April.
Yeah,
April.
April.
With,
Rory Scovel.
Rory
I
Scovel.
think it's like my birthday. Yeah, that was the best.
It was
birthday
a
present.
great show. I mean, I didn't have any expectations. It was just like I didn't know anything. But you know when you walk into a room, you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna be awesome because
Yeah.
like you're on a little run of 4 or 5 cities, and then you walk in and you're like, yes, and you kind of needed it at the time. I think comedy gods are sort of mean. Every time I'm like, I've had enough. They're like, we're going to give you a great show, and that's going to keep you going for a while.
And then you host an open mic the next day.
But I love this place. It was so fun. It's
I
like,
wouldn't know anything about having bad shows, but I
no, you
empathize
wouldn't.
with what
And that's why I'll always open for you. Look at me. I'll always, okay?
he made eye contact. It must be real.
I made eye contact with him in the crowd, and they just took off. They left.
No, it is interesting when you go to a place that you've never been and you get just blown away by the quality of the scene. And I mean, that speaks to the scene building power that certain people have, and the dedication to actually building that world.
And what y'all do is the heart of it. Like, this is not a huge scene, but you're doing something special regularly.
And a lot of worlds crumbled during COVID.
Yeah.
And they haven't been fully rebuilt still.
We were lucky. Like, we shut down an open mic, but I had the beer garden where you had performed, and so we were able to do like shows outside distance, but it was like a monthly showcase, and we had some headliners coming through like Sean Patton, a few others, and it was like, okay, I had like 3 mics going, spray and mic covers and everything.
Having COVID was a requirement to be at the show.
Yeah.
Be one of us.
You're like, hell yeah.
And own a possum, but still.
Welcome, brother.
So open mics run around.
So
we
were able to keep it going, but I mean, like, we're a small scene, but like, we always brag that we're pretty strong and we don't have a lot of riffraff because they don't last.
Yeah.
You go somewhere like a bigger city and it's just, it's you've got everything from pedos to sexual assaulters to just plain crazy to just
bad people too.
Yeah, we've pretty much got one unified scene.
Yeah.
And that
regulates itself.
That support makes up for the lack of stage time, honestly. Like, people progress at a faster rate than they normally would under the circumstances.
It means more to them each time.
Yeah.
Like, you can get pretty complacent sometimes when you're just getting up a bunch.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been doing like these shows? Like,
so I like here or just in general?
In general.
In general. So kind of started around 2014.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then 2015, like in February, is when we brought the first national comedian and brought down Segura.
Oh,
and that's
really?
what kind of started it, and that kind of, it kind of lends it to more people wanting to see comedy, more people wanting to do comedy, and it's just
what's great is you've trained an entire area to like comedy, because it's not. It's. I'm not saying it's a small area, but like, without you, the comedy would be whatever it is. But now there's a scene where the great comics are coming through all the time. So a whole group of people in this community see great comedy that they normally wouldn't, and now they're huge fans of it, and they know comedy. And now you have these people, like, I could tell that for the show. You're like, I was like looking around going, oh, these people know comedy.
Yeah.
And part of them are Rory's fans, but a part of them are just like, we come all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what the testament to doing it great for consistently for a long time.
Yeah. Every now and then, you get people who like don't have an idea of what it is, and they show up, but you can tell. And we never
I'll
get
destroy
any
that
people
heckler.
never get people from the hotel. It's always people who buy tickets and they're coming here, whether they're coming to see the show or they're just like, oh, it's a comedy show, let's see. But how many people tell me every day, you had comedy in this town? And
But that's the difference between you and a comedy club. People are coming here to seek it.
Yeah.
They don't stumble in and be like, there's a comedy club.
That's
They
right.
still have to go see it.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. When people are
Yeah,
like, oh,
totally.
who's this? It's like, well, who goes to something without knowing what it is?
Yeah.
That's what people do in comedy.
And we outsell New Orleans by sometimes half or more, and it's crazy. But New Orleans is a unique beast,
That was like that week.
Yeah, and it hasn't recovered since COVID, I guess. The scene's changed, but also just in general, unless you're doing like a 1,000-seater theater, it's hard to get regular shows over there. So.
Well,
we're gonna fuck it all up for you.
All right, thank you.
The podcast is called We're Dying Down Here, and we call it that because we are, right? That's like a play off of I'm Dying Up Here.
Yeah.
And, we're here in South Louisiana doing as many shows as we can, but it's hard. We find ourselves doing shows at daiquiri shops, and, we're throwing up PAs at places right when people are getting off work. And so one thing we like to ask our guests is if you have any stories about dying on stage.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Anything stand
Here's
out
the
that you
interesting
wanna share?
thing about stand-up comedy that I think is, if I may be so bold, to say is
Watch yourself.
to say is I'm a Christmas guy. Where's my eggnog?
He's a snowflake.
I think it's probably unique to, I was going to say stand-up, but it's obviously unique to the performing arts. Specifically, I think stand-up more than probably any other, but you will go and perform shows in places where you would never go. You would never walk into a place and you would never seek out to hang out with these people that hang out in this particular place, right? I'm not trying to be disparaging. I'm just saying it's just not your thing, right? And you're desperately seeking the approval of people you would never hang out with, right? Or
for money.
so like different types of bars, different themed bars where different crowds go are these weird places, right? And it's such a weird thing to where like our happiness hinges on the approval of people we never hang out with, or because we do have that thing where we strive to try to spread joy and laughter even to people that we might not like get along with politically or whatever else it is. We don't care about that. The only thing we do care about usually, I think, in good comedy is, can I make these people laugh?
That's right.
And you, because you go to all these different places where you might think so differently than the people who frequent these places, and especially when you're starting out, a lot of it's just like, surprise, a comedy show's happening. They're like, wait, this is where I drink.
Yeah, that's no chance.
And
you're actually
so you
wrong,
die
man.
1,000 deaths along the way, and which sucks that you need to do that, because you do, I guess, just to get thicker skin and understand that, tomorrow's a new day. There was a bar that I ran an open mic at on Tuesdays in Fairborn, Ohio, by Wright State University, where I was going to college at the time. And every Tuesday night at like 10 o'clock, and it was the worst. And it was just, there was never anybody. Even if there was 0 people there, we would do the show, hoping that people would show up and come in.
0.
halfway through. Yeah.
Somebody's going to walk in like, what is this psycho talking to right
one
now?
time there was one guy on stage, and he was heckling the whole time. And I was going up at the end of the show. I get up, and I am just filled with rage at this point. And I get up, and he's heckling by, he's saying, he's like using like, sexuality slurs and things like that. That's what he's calling people. And so I get up there, and then I'm maybe 30 seconds into my bits or whatever, and then he just starts calling me the F word.
Oh, so
and
it's
I'm
funny.
just like,
Wait, which one?
I'm not funny.
He
You're
starts calling
funny.
me Flagstaff, Arizona.
Flagstaff.
I thought it was
And,
Franz Ferdinand. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Get a rope.
And so, and I go, oh, you're the guy who's been heckling all night. And he goes, yeah. I go, you need to shut the fuck up. And he goes, you shut the. And he turns around and he moons me.
What the fuck?
Oh my
Right?
God! Was that supposed to be
He's
like
completely
oh,
wasted.
No, you
Pull,
didn't.
pull it up, J-Mo.
Yeah.
Wait, wrong podcast.
As
Sorry.
he
Does that make
moons
you
me,
mad? It's supposed to make
as
you
he
mad.
moons me, I realize that his ass is shaved and beautifully tan. And I go, I just find it weird
Yes.
that you're calling everybody a homosexual and you have a perfect ass.
I mean, just
that's
a-
shaved and clearly
a
tan.
gorgeous
'Cause he was
dumper.
like a really like white guy with a bronze ass.
I know that guy.
And then he goes, what? And so that got him so upset. He comes up on stage.
What?
Demands an apology. I won't give it to him. He swings at me. He gets a tip of my nose.
It's an
I
apology.
don't let go of the mic stand. I kind of matrix it. He gets a tip of my nose. And before I can say anything, my buddy Big Joe, who was a bouncer, like 6'4", 300
Joe
pounds,
Jokerson?
he just grabs him and throws this guy into the wall. Takes the mic from me, and he goes, I'm the baddest motherfucker in here.
This is the Wild West of comedy.
Yeah, like what the fuck is
This was a
happening?
Tuesday night
Big
in
Joe
Dayton,
just wants in
Ohio.
on the
Is it
show.
like Wyatt Earp walking in?
Big,
going,
did Big Joe do a tie 5 after?
Big Joe, he was part of our Risk crew. We used to play Risk on Monday nights at this bar.
How'd that get
It was
wild
great.
too?
It did. I mean, we started having crowds of people watching us play. Because anytime we got killed off, we'd have to do shots. And,
God
anyway.
damn it, Singer, that's too many sixes. You're cheating.
But yeah, I mean, that was just a weekly occurrence for me, like dying on stage. And I mean, we've all got 1,000 stories. I'm not going to, I'll let Gilbert.
I love that the guy mooned you, demanded an apology.
I know.
Hey, you can't make me.
But I'll tell you, Dayton's kind of a small,
Was that
big
the first
city.
heckler you destroyed?
And it was my first. I actually started the phrase. Anytime that guy saw me at a bar in Dayton,
You saw him
Ohio,
after that?
for years, he would buy me a beer and a shot because he was so apologetic. I was in a really weird place. I was on cocaine, and I was like, okay,
I was in a weird
fine.
place. I was grooming my ass and like yelling at people.
All right, Gilbert.
I mean,
you.
I had a lot. I mean, but the ones you have to like do your time at, like there's a place in Birmingham. I'm not gonna say the name. It rhymes with Stardome.
I got it.
It's. I wish more than anything I had a tape of that set because it was so epic that it didn't even seem real. Like, so the host goes out and he's doing something that's not going to have a lot of overlap, right? It's like just whatever, and they're loving it. And I go out and I make this mistake that I'd made before where I go out in this like Southern character kind of guy, and sometimes it looks like I'm making fun of them, like because I'm brown. They're like, oh, then I have to explain. No. So they hated me right out of the gate. Hated me so much. About 5 minutes in, and it's a gig. You have to do 20. You have to do your 20, which is not that much, except they hated me so much. This lady up front, this really nicely like old cute black lady said something. I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear what you said. And she goes, I said, we're just good old simple country folk here. And I go, oh, I'm sorry, did I curse? I don't. And then we all collectively realized she meant we're all simply like country folk, not what you are. Like, you know? And we're like,
we're white.
And then I said, and then
White and off-white.
yeah. And then I thought about something that I normally think about later that I wish I'd have thought about in the moment because I thought it was a perfect reply, funny, but whatever. And I go, oh, wow, how quickly you turn the hoses on us. Which, I mean, because I still stand by that comment. I mean, it's like pointed, but it's also like, why are you being racist to me?
Yeah.
And they all went, oh, and I was like, 6 minutes. I'm like, how quickly did I make all of you hate me? So I'm talking like palpable. And so I got my like last joke, and I go, okay, I know you guys are gonna love this. This is my last joke, and they erupted
so
in fucking
funny.
in claps. And I go,
That's so funny.
I got off stage, and literally he goes, "Hey, if you want to just go out that way," because I'm like, "Oh yeah," because they weren't gonna hurt me, but they weren't gonna not hurt me. Yeah. So I left, and I called, I think Dave or maybe Rory, and I was like, you know, I was just in shock, but I was also mad at myself because I was like, I don't care about this, but it should be at a point in comedy where I can survive in that one. Yeah. And both Rory goes, Dave goes, he's like, I think you're exaggerating. And I go, oh, that's, and it was the booker, like calling me on the other line. He's never called me. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what the hell happened? And I go, I don't know. And then I was going the next night to the same place. The manager goes, hey, just like be vulgar. Just be vulgar. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to come back here, but the thing is, the host crushed and the headliner crushed, and they just don't get comedy. Obviously. But
How was merch sales that night?
Oh, I don't know. I had to get out of there. I really did leave. Like it was like didn't have to go out the back, but I also didn't want to go through that.
Yeah.
Like. You know those comics that bomb and they hang out? I'm like, what's going on right now? I can't tell if I'm impressed by you or like...
Or they're like, hey, any
are you unaware?
Any notes?
Or you don't... Yeah. How are you standing here right now? Because I will be like standing there if I have a bad set and going, I got to get out of here. Can't make eye contact. They're like, you just bombed. He's like, how's that going? All right, yeah, I liked you. Yeah. It's like, okay.
I had an entire week. My first feature week ever was at the Atlanta Punchline, the old location, and
who's the headliner?
Tom Wilson was the headliner, and all my friends in the Dayton, Cincinnati scene, they're like, Tom Wilson's PG clean. You have to be like G rated, and so I was like, oh shit. So I took out all the punchlines of all my jokes.
So it would have been
because I wasn't clean. So I went down there and didn't even say shit or damn or in my act, and halfway through the weekend, the manager at the time, she's like, hey, we're thinking about, we didn't tell you this is a co-headlining week with, and it's a guy who's really funny. The host was Drew Thomas. And so I go, he was really dirty. And I was in the green room like, he's being dirty. I need to reset the audience for Tom. And so I go out there and be squeaky clean. It was, and I was taking a bath in my own shit all week. And one night after a set, I'm outside smoking, just having a panic attack. And this woman comes up to me. This white lady comes up to me and she goes, oh, it's the comedian. And I'm just like, yeah, it is. And she goes, I need you to know something. We're not as racist as you think down here in Atlanta. And I go, oh, so what you're saying is you're racist. But you're not as racist as I think you are.
We're racist.
And she goes, oh, fuck off. And
we're
racist.
racist.
And I was like, I felt like I robbed the place when I got paid at the end of the week.
And then she mooned you.
And then she mooned me.
But what's great about that is classic Ryan, because he could curse, but for a team player, it's like, I got to reset the room.
It was a huge,
but a bad decision, right? Crush. I mean, classic Ryan, but not the right move.
Classic Ryan, fucking up the show.
Which is classic Ryan.
We got to
making a bold choice that's in the wrong direction.
We got to move him to headliner. This middle stuff's not working.
So, realistically, you could have done work dirty the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Tom never even... At the end of the week, I said to Tom, Tom, it's been a real pleasure. I did learn a lot of valuable lessons that week. I learned how to take the stage with authority and own the stage immediately upon it, walking on it like Tom Wilson does. And then I was like, you know what? I told Tom, I was like, this is great. This was a great week. I learned a lot watching, but I can tell you I'm never going to be asked back here after this week. And he goes, Ryan, you said you've been watching all my sets all week? And I go, yeah, Tom. And he goes, well, then you know that I'm never gonna come back.
Guy, nice.
All right, well, let's wrap it up on that. Tell us where we can find you and anything coming out or RyanSingerComedy.com's got everything. Rice Sing on Instagram.
Room 345?
No.
Yeah, y'all, you're gonna get this too late, but if you should have that information. Yeah. Gilbert Lawand, Gilbert Lawand on Instagram. You can also look up redclaycomedy.com.
Yeah.
It's a festival that I produced in Atlanta.
Oh, cool. Do you review the submissions?
Officially, no, because that would mean I would reject people. So,
Okay. All right.
no.
Well, someone at this table may or may not have submitted, so I was just curious.
Oh, really, Ryan? Look at him, he's so humble. Hey,
it's just him mooning the camera.
Yeah. Oh, it's him destroying that heckler.
It's a tight five of his.
What happened to
ass.
his open mic?
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, and we are back. That was the lovely, beautiful Ryan Singer.
And Gilbert, too.
And Gilbert was here.
Gilbert's so
Gilbert.
funny.
He's like, there's another comic named Gilbert. And we're like, he's like, who? Godfrey.
Dude, that's-
and we
yeah.
both said in unison, never heard of her. That's,
Good
killing
comedy.
It.
Good
Killing it
comedy.
down here. We're dying.
We're going to be on our own Hack Watch segment.
No, man. Those dudes are so fun. Ryan's just a goof. He's a goofball. That's why he's on the tour.
Otherworldly.
But Gilbert is equally as goofball.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was just some good stories and just two awesome comics and who've seen it all. You know, they've been in the game way longer than us, and they are just
Yeah, and it's so fun to hear them talk about some of the names because they've just been in some of these scenes, these, Ohio to Atlanta, that whole entire scene for so long. I recognize a lot of the names that they talk about, and comedy's so great, man.
Yeah, if you've never seen Ryan Singer, you can watch his special or listen to it. But if you find his old stuff, I mean, he had this. You talk about with the Gargamel bit.
Yeah, that's on one of his albums. I forgot. What it was called.
So good. And then he has his famous milkshake bit where he breaks down. Then he has like a clip I used to promote where he talked about like the world as far as like snack foods and he's one of those goofballs.
There's some people who do comedy, and I consider myself one of these types of people. Like, I like jokes.
Yeah.
I'm writing jokes. I'm not taking my thoughts to like some crazy high level. Every now and then I come up with something that's very intuitive and slick, but I'm not out here like looking for like next level.
Yeah.
I feel like Ryan Singer, when he writes comedy, he's thinking, how can I appeal to people who are on a bunch of drugs?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he has
like
crystals.
Yeah.
He wears crystals. I'm sure
he's awesome.
Horoscopes. I mean, his podcast is great too. So yeah, it was damn fun. And then Gilbert, he's a staple of the Atlanta scene. He runs Red Clay, one of the producers, founders of that, and that's just
I may or may not have submitted and may or may not be expecting an acceptance to that festival. So we'll see.
I think he got our hints.
We'll see.
Off stage, we were sitting there and during the show, and I was like, I submitted for Red Clay. He goes, I think you'll be ready in a couple years, and just walked away, and I was just like, oh, motherfucker, shit. Anyway.
His comedy's fast. He's like he's more like a club comic.
Yeah.
Not like a storyteller. He's kind of up there just slinging. He did a lot of crowd work. Sounded like he was improvising a lot too.
He also had to deal with the two ladies that weren't quiet.
They were loud as shit.
They were. Every time I would and they'd be quiet, and then one of them would get up, and then the best was when they left and then came back later.
They would come back in talking all loud from the back of the room.
One of them came in taking a phone call, and I was like, hey.
What are you doing? So, like, she left the bar area. She was like, it's too loud out here. Let me go in the comedy club to take this call.
I can't hear you. A guy's on stage talking on a microphone. Rude. Buddy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it was great. Let's we want to talk about the show because this is kind of you're gonna get a two-parter of the show. But we had the Goofball run here. That is Dave Stone, Geoff Tate, Ryan Singer, Gilbert Lawand. We were the second show of the tour. They started in New Orleans the night before us. Then here, 4 headliners doing 20 minutes, and it was beautiful. It was so good.
So great. Yeah,
like we probably had like 50 people in the crowd for a Wednesday, which is good. And they were great, man.
Yeah,
It was a fun
everybody was
show.
jam-packed to the front.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, you can't, that's the worst thing is when you have a lighter crowd and they're spread out.
Yeah.
These people were all sitting up front. I mean, the first 2 or 3 rows were full. And that's, honestly, what more do you need, you know?
No.
Yeah, a full room's nice, but if you can't have a full room, jam them all to the front and let's have a good time. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
They were hot and ready.
I hosted. You got to do some time, so that was good. So it was just like, man, it was just a fun show. So
Yeah.
So we'll dive a little more into it on the next episode, because on the next episode we've got Dave Stone and Jeff Tate will be the interview. So
Yeah.
episode 4. So
Yeah, also a great interview. 2 great dudes, man.
yes.
Yeah, knocking it out the park.
All right. What?
You want to get spicy?
Wait, I'm looking at the Christmas tree. It's a little present. I'm gonna open it with my eyes. It's hack watch time.
Why don't you kick us off, Jason?
Oh man. God, there's so many that I want to talk about. Man, I don't know if I've even pinpointed my one thing for this week.
You want me to go?
Hang on, let me. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. So I saw comics of all ilk. I mean, 20-year vets, 15-year vets, 10-year vets doing this in Houston. And this is something that needs to stop. And it is unnecessarily asking questions as a way to get into a bit. I mean, it is...
to the audience?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is a lazy... And unless you have a joke coming off of it, or you're actually planning to do crowd work that you're good at,
Yeah.
it is a lazy way to introduce a bit. It's like people are like, just a real shitty throwaway example would be like if you're writing a joke about PlayStation. It's like, you guys into PlayStation? What are you hoping to get out of that? You know what I'm saying? It's way better to write your joke as like a one line, just give me like a straightforward intro to the joke. I play PlayStation.
Unless it's really good and it's an unusual.
Yeah, and
thing,
there
yeah.
are great examples of that. A lot of them are in my comedy, where you might ask the audience a misleading question,
Yeah.
and that's going to lead to a joke. Comics do that with great success, like myself. But but this is like an epidemic, and it's not just open micers. I'm serious. I see professional comedians on stage working out new material, and because they don't know what else to do, they're just like, you guys watch fucking Survivor?
Yeah.
And like at that point, you're just inviting trouble.
Yeah.
You're inviting the drunk person in the front to say no really loudly. You're inviting somebody to say no, Survivor sucks, Big Brother's better. Like, are you prepared for all of this?
You mean the truth?
Like, when all you're trying to do is deliver a joke, asking the audience for help or permission to tell that joke, that is not a good way to get into that joke. And I saw this happen over the last 3 weeks, and it really just stood out in my mind.
Yeah, I get it. All right. So here's mine, and this is because I've heard it a few times, but comics who not only don't know when to shut up during the show when they're in the audience, but who know the comedian's joke on stage and then they finish it, ruining the whole thing.
Wait. Has this specifically happened to you recently?
Not me.
Okay, you saw this happen, though? Was
Two
this
weeks ago.
at my open mic?
Allegedly.
I remember.
But I've seen it happen across, like, shows or
Yeah,
whatever. Or, like, not knowing what... Just learn to behave in the audience. That's it. And, like, especially if you're going to ruin a joke for someone.
If you're a comedian,
Yeah.
show some respect.
Yeah. Just, like, great, you're paying attention, but you don't have to be the loudest person there or have some control, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, that's a big thing, you know? But if you yell out the punchline of someone's bit because you know it, just, yeah.
Yeah, and here's, how about this? Even if you don't know the punchline, don't try to guess and yell out the punchline.
Because I would like to think our little brains are trained to be a little quicker than the normal, you know, but.
So I've seen, I will say this, though. I do this sometimes at my mic where like if you're a comic and you're up there and you're not doing your set, you're just meandering around, maybe
loitering.
Yeah, you just
You're
taking
loitering.
up time on stage. I have no fucking problem yelling at you something funny to get the audience to laugh if you haven't done it. I will just say that
Kill
as a
yourself.
PSA to comics who sign up for my mic. There will be times when I yell at you from off the stage, and that is acceptable because that is my show.
Yeah. So that's my hack watch for this week.
Man, what a crazy hacky world we live in.
Hacky sacky.
Hacky sacky. I mean, I saw like very good comics bombing and just doing very like amateur stuff. Sometimes they're just not in it.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes the headspace and like this private thing I did in Homa, like I am weird. Like it seems like if I'm too loud, I get super quieter or the energy, and I need to just go out there with a different energy because I'm so like I get like very like soft spoken and whatever, but when just looking at someone's eyes and you can see the disappointment. You're
Yeah,
just
and
like, you know.
when you're telling jokes and you have enough like bandwidth in your head to like tell yourself how bad it's going, that sucks.
No, because
like, that's how bad it's going.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's like sitting down, like if you ever made something for yourself to eat and you just start eating, you're like, this ain't good, boss.
Yeah, but you're stuck
I don't
with
want,
it.
Yeah, I don't want to, not go hungry.
I made
obviously,
this plate
you
of
know?
shit. Now I got to eat it,
Anyway.
dude. And it's crazy because when people are laughing, you don't have time in your head to even say this is good, or this is going well. You're just in it.
That's just
you're in the moment, having so much fun, thinking about the next thing you're gonna say. But when it's going bad, it's the opposite.
I've always told people comedy is either the best thing in the world or the worst thing. And like when you have a show that's just hitting on all ends, you feel invincible up here, and it's great when you've got everyone into you. But when it's not, it is the loneliest experience. And then, if I make eyes with a comic in the audience, and we both are like, "You got this,"
Yeah, we're gonna fuck in the hotel room later.
It's pretty bad, man. It's yeah. But hey, that's what it is.
Comedy.
That's why we're dying down here.
We are incredibly dying.
Big thanks to our sponsor, Gator Custom Graphics. They are a local, full-service sign shop specializing in banners, wide print and format, and vehicle graphics. From your custom business cards to your storefront, Gator has your sign and printer needs covered. Check them out at Gator Custom Graphics with an X.com, or check them out on Instagram at Gator Custom Graphics.
Hey, I want to give a big thanks to our sponsor, Ounce of Hope Aquaponic Cannabis Company. Ounce of Hope provides high-quality CBD and Delta-8 through an advanced aquaponic system for the utmost in quality products. They also gave me this hat because they know how much balding middle-aged men love hats. They also provided our huge Lafayette comedy banner.
Not balding.
Not who? You? You're lucky. Check them out at ounceofhope.com.
All right. So next is Rex. I'm going to let you go first.
Well, you already know because I've been talking about this for the past week.
And you already know.
Since it came out. If you have not watched Nick Mullen's special, Year of the Dragon, you are missing one of the best specials of the year.
Can I just run it for the Rex right now?
Go ahead.
That's also my Rec this week. We talked about it. It's so good. Like I was gonna try to pick Stavros just had a new one come out.
Wasn't good enough.
They used to be on the podcast together. Nick Mullins blew me away, and I'm ashamed. He's someone that I haven't paid a lot of attention to. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing
So again, I'm very guilty of not paying enough attention to him. I've been recommended Nick Mullen multiple times. Yep. Before his special came out, I went and followed him on all socials, and I started watching YouTube videos. And I mean, he has some banger clips, dude. Clips that are like noteworthy and I will repeat these jokes to people. Check out, just Google Nick Mullen, Steve Harvey.
Yes.
You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
They did what with the trains? $6 million. But yeah, Year of the Dragon was great. It was a well done special. He also co-hosts a podcast called the Adam Friedland Show podcast with his other buddy from Cumtown, Adam Friedland.
Yep.
So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, same, man. I mean, it was so good. and he pushes it on a lot of bits, but it's so freaking funny, and it's a well shot special. You can watch it free on YouTube. So that's my recommendation for as well.
If you don't have a separate rec, I got a bonus one.
Let's do it. Bonus it away.
The Green Room with Adam Provenza not Adam. Paul Provenza.
Yes.
So this was a show that used to air on Showtime, and it has a couple seasons, not a whole lot of episodes, but he would get all these comedians on and just talk as though it were a green room, and they would just talk about comedy.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, dude, like episode 1, legends. Episode 2 has like Patrice O'Neal on it. Like,
never heard of.
Yeah, there's so many. Drew Carey's on it. Even non-comedians, people who are famous, they get in there and have them pick their brains about comedy. It's a couple seasons, very, very good. You can watch it all on YouTube. You don't have to pay for Showtime or nothing, but it's cool. Right. It's a good little insight into some famous comics' brains.
Well, I'm going to throw a little bonus in there, too, because it's not a full special, but my one and only, one of my favorites, Joe List. He puts out a bunch of content, but he has one. It's just crowd work. It's like
it's called The Worst Joe List Does Awful Crowd Work or something.
Right. It's so good. Me and Isaac were talking about this because if you know Joe's insecurity and everything, it's essentially that for 18, 19 minutes, and it's beautiful and it's funny. I love him to death. Whatever,
he's great.
We were talking about that, but that's definitely one of them to go watch. So.
All right, JP, what you got coming up, man? Take us out.
Oh, dates. All right, so. Here we go. So this has probably come out after the next show, but December 16th, which is Saturday, we have Sean Patton.
That's not. Yeah, this ain't gonna be out then.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it. We had Sean Patton. I just want to say Pat.
I'll be out there
like that. You'll see me and Tyler on that show. You may see Sean on a future guest. Yeah, you will. But we'll have that. I'm excited for that. We're actually, that show, and here's the reason I'm saying it, is that we're kind of teaming up with the Cajun Comic Relief guys.
Shout out.
They're bringing back their Cajun Comic Relief shows at the Hyman, which is in March. I will be hosting both of those. So I finally get to break through the Hyman. And do I need to cut that?
No, not at all. Please don't. As a matter of fact, I'll be mad if you cut anything from this episode. It's been flawless.
Okay. This episode's going to be 3 minutes long. We are, so we're going to announce that here, the show. They've been doing like some ticket giveaways and then kind of building up to that big show, which is be fun. And they always give to donate to good, charities and everything. So we're excited for that. And then right before Christmas, December 22nd, I will be in Birmingham, Alabama, Roll Tide, at the Lyric Theater, opening up for our good buddy Mark Norman.
Norman Markeford
of Markeford family.
Marks and Normalton.
So that's going to be, these are theaters. It'll be at the Lyric Theater. I think there's still tickets available. I'll be there the night before. Shout out to Chris Ivy, who runs some amazing shows over there. I think I'm going up and do a show the night before. Then I'll stay there, do that one. The next night, December 23rd, in Shreveport, Louisiana, at the Strand Theater, opening for Mark again. These are like...
I'm going to be there.
Big theater. Yeah, you're going to come up. We got something going on. But these are like 1,000+ theaters. So a little nervous, but we'll be good. December 28th, Lisa Curry will be here. On the 29th, she'll be here. On the 28th, we're also doing bringing her to the Manship. So December 28th, Lisa Curry at the Manship in Baton Rouge. 29th here, Club 337. And then December 30th, the Big Stone versus Drunk versus Sober, where I am not hosting that night. You're going to host that, and that's going to round us out for the year. And just looking ahead, just some big announcements. So we got a few new shows that we got. So first of all, bring in Stone versus Drunk, January 6th, some of your national holidays. We're bringing that to Lake Charles, to the Library Riot.
Wait, we are bringing a Stone Drunk Sober show to Lake Charles on January 6th at the Library Riot.
You heard that right, guys.
We're storming the library.
Storming the Chuck. So Lafayette Comedy and Lake Charles Comedy, me and Jacob Guidry are going to co-pro that. He'll be competing on that. January 19th, we're back at Rally Cap Brewing in Baton Rouge, Comedy at the Cap. And then January 27th, another Baton Rouge show as we bring Stone versus Drunk versus Sober to the station. Also, shout out January 24th, a brand new comedy show called Hair of the Dog. You know, it's at Adopted Dog Brewing here in Lafayette. Amazing brewery on Dulles Street. Great food, great drinks. This could be outside, covered big old patio, limited tickets for that. And then just some other barn burners we got coming for the new year. First of all, January 4th, 51st Jokes. That's a nationwide thing. It's put together. This is our second year doing it. We got permission for the founders of that. It's also happened in New Orleans, I think on the 1st itself. But 51st Jokes is comics. You get 2 minutes, and you do your first jokes you've written of the year. So ours is January 4th, free show, donation only, but comics can sign up. And then looking at the year, we got at the ACA bringing Laura Kilmartin, Paula Poundstone, Emo Phillips, Dolce Sloan. And then here we're bringing Gareth Reynolds, Steve Hofstetter, Chris Porter, Mike Kaplan, and then our good friend Robert Bobby Kelly for a 2-nighter. Lots of shows coming up, LafayetteComedy.com. Tyler.
Yep. Well, you bury the lead on just about every show that I have on my list. You mentioned. So the only one that
Tell us again.
The only one that you didn't mention is also one that you're on, though, that you skipped, which is You Look Like at the Riot on January 12th in Houston. Other than that, I'm also on Stone Drunk Sober, 12:30, 51st Jokes on 1/4, Stone Drunk Sober in Lake Charles on 1/6. Man, you can find me everywhere at The Tyler A. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, thetylara.com will take you to everywhere you need to go. Check me out.
Yeah, one more, January 21st at Artmosphere. Oof Comedy presents The Ghost Roast.
Oh, you're on that one? Kenny Rogers.
I am Kenny Rogers on that one.
Dude, that's going to be so good.
Is Macho Man going to be there?
No.
Oh,
I will not be there.
I don't care.
Nah.
So, yeah, you can find me at the JP Leonard on all things. I'm even on the TikToks and, with the kids.
TikToks?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
on the TikToks,
shit.
the Talk-Ticks. And then Lafayette Comedy on everything. Sign up for our mailing list. You get first dibs at tickets. Everyone who signed up got first dibs at the VIP Bobby Kelly tickets. Those were flying. Check us out. Comedy is the greatest thing. Next episode, we're going to have Dave Stone and Jeff Tate. Do we want to give them a taste of the next one, or do you want to save that for next week?
What do you mean a taste?
I mean, who's our next?
Oh,
guest
well, I mean,
be?
it's probably going to be somebody that's coming here December 16th.
Look it up. LafayetteComedy.com.
Number 1, baby.
Number 1. All right, that's it. We're dying down here. Thank you. Roll credits.
What the fuck?